My name is Jason Davis, coming to you from an undisclosed secret location in an iron bunker in the highlands of Volusia County, guarded by 2 rabid Pomeranians and 1 crazy cat. That's right. Hey, everybody, welcome aboard. This is my little podcast. We like to call this Common Sense because, believe it or not, there's one thing in government that is not common, and that is common sense. Anyways, so here we go. Just a couple of days ago, I don't know when you're listening to this podcast. It has been recorded. But a couple of days ago, something came up that when I was the county council chair of Volusia County, yes, I used to be that, the highest elected official is what they used to call it. We had a gentleman by the name of Greg Gimbert. He came to me personally, and he said, Tigerbay. I said, hey, Tigerbay, it's a forest reserve. Yes, what about it? He says, they let hunters out there. They let horseback riders out there. They let these people out there. I want to let ATVs drive around out there. I says, Now, I know a lot of off-road ATV, four-wheelers, as you call them, drivers, and some of them are a little, shall we say, a little overzealous, but most of them, for the most part, are pretty decent people. They stay on the beaten path. They don't go tearing up the woods because, let's be realistic, they're off-road vehicles, but not through the bush vehicles. They don't kind of hop palmetto bushes or anything too well. So, anyways, unless I guess you could get one to do it, but I've never seen one. But anyways, so here we go. Mr. Gimbert apparently had a conversation with one of the county council members because in an unscheduled vote for that Tuesday, which was, let's see, that would be, well, let me see the date. I had to have to relook up the date again. But it was the Volusia County Council unanimously agreed to send a letter to the Florida Forest Service supporting opening up Tigerbay State Forest to ATVs and possibly other vehicles. What? Let's just hit the Wayback Machine here for a minute, Mr. Peabody. Let's go on back to 2013. After my election, Mr. Gimbert came to me. We had a very lengthy discussion. He showed me a map, and he wanted me to go out there, but I was trying to get there, but I just didn't have time to go riding around out in the woods. I'm the county chair. I'm out, meeting with these people, this people, running the county business as I'm supposed to do, which is a far cry from what's going on nowadays, but I was everywhere. And people will tell you I was everywhere. But anyways, in 2013, when Mr. Greg Gimbert came to me, I brought it before the county council. I did. In the same manner that it was done on that Tuesday. Let me see if I can pull up the date that it would have been. It would have been Tuesday, June 4th. That's right, Tuesday, June 4th, county council meeting. At the end of the council, we have this thing, it's called items not on the agenda, brought up by council members, and apparently somebody brought this up. Now, I don't know who exactly brought it up because it's not specific in this, but I'm going to believe that it was, might have been Mr. Ed Kelly, the county chair now. See, it's like this. However, I'll read you. This is from Dustin Wyatt of the News Journal. In an unscheduled vote Tuesday, the Volusia County Council unanimously agreed to send a letter to the Florida Forest Service supporting opening up Tigerbay Forest to ATVs and possibly other vehicles. However, less than 24 hours later, after protests from former council members and others, I'm sure, because, let's see, when I had the vote on it in 2013, let me tell you what, Miss Pat Northey, to be honest with you, I thought she was going to have a stroke there for a moment because, no, we can't do this, But anyways, she was adamantly against it, and I'll get more onto that last. Well, let's go through the history right now. I brought it up. Mr. Gimbert was there. He pled his case, which was not normally what happens. I said, no, Mr. Gimbert, come up here and talk to us. He was there. So he came up. We talked about it. We had discussion. Let me tell you, Miss Northey was against it. Everybody on the council, that vote was 6-1. Now, see, here's the problem with it, all this politics things, folks. This is why I'm not in the county government anymore, because I have this big aversion to telling a lie. I don't like liars. I don't like people that tell half-truths. I like people who have done their homework. I like people that have done the research, and I like people that tell the truth. If you lie to me, you do it once, and then our conversations at that point are terminated. That's right. I don't deal with liars. I don't lie. So anyways, so here we are. It was a conversation. Mr. Gimbert pled his case. The county manager voiced his opposition to it. The vote was 6-1 because I told Mr. Gimbert that I would support the issue. Everybody else voted no. Now, here we are, 5 years later, 6 years later, and one of the people that was so adamant about, no, we can't have ATVs in Tiger Bay, that would destroy the turtle population, that would destroy the trees, it would be peace and quiet, and on, infinitum ad nausea, as some people like to say. Miss Deb Denny's voted for this? My goodness, how interesting. We have a council member who has been adamant about no, on anything and everything I would have brought up. All of a sudden, now she's concerned about water. What do we do to fix the intercoastal waterway? Well, it was laid on your lap in 2014. It was laid right on your lap to make a decision and support it. Not give money, just support it. Now you have Tiger Bay coming forth again, the issue with Mr. Gimbert. And believe me, I met Greg. I've known Greg for several years, 6-7 years now. And Mr. Gimbert and I actually ran against each other for the position in my second run. And him and I think we have a pretty good mutual discussion. He's got my number. If he wants to call me, he calls me. He hasn't called me a lot lately because, I'm not elected official anymore. Thank goodness. Trust me, it's a stressful job. You really don't want to do it if you don't want to. Anyways, so here we are. He's bringing it back forth. I think must have been Mr. Kelly he talked with, who said he is, the vote during the county council at the end of the meeting touched two previous controversies, vehicles used in Tiger Bay and approval of items not on the council's agenda. In the weeks leading up to Tuesday's meeting, council members were lobbied behind the scenes by Daytona Beach resident Greg Gimbert, who has pushed for nearly a decade to open all roads to traffic in Tiger Bay and set aside a portion of the 30,000-acre forest for all-terrain vehicles, also known as ATVs. The Forest Service has rebuffed his requests, citing environmental damage, maintenance issues, and fire danger in the forest west of Daytona Beach between U.S. Highway 92 and State Road 40. The county council rejected this request for their support in 2013. Now, all this is a letter of support. Now, let me tell you how much weight that letter of support has. 0. That's it. It's just like a resolution. It's not a law. It has just a bunch of hot air and paperwork, and everybody likes to type and kill the trees to make more paperwork, and so we can have a meeting about killing more trees and making more paperwork, and that's all it is. A resolution has 0 weight. We resolve to support Greg Gimbert in his efforts to bring ATVs to Tiger Bay. That's all the weight it has. It really doesn't. If the state forest says no, the Forest Service for the state of Florida says no, then Mr. Gimbert, it's done. What they have told him before is they wouldn't do it unless there was support from the local county, and that's why he's gone back. Well, more power to you, Greg. I think it's a great idea that and I read further into the article, our at-large member, also known as the previous sheriff, Mr. Ben Johnson, he says, we need to have a place for these ATVs to go. He says, because, we have a place for horses and hunters and all these, other events that people do outside. What about the ATV guys? Well, ATVs, of course, I would also have to incorporate two-wheeled motorcycles, off-road motorcycles. But anyways, so he says yes, and he supported it because, we need a place for these people. Well, yes, we do. I'm not going to argue that. And it'd be great if somebody bought a piece of property and said, hey, I'm going to open this to off-road vehicles, and gave everybody a venue to do it. But everybody here in the United States now, because of all the political correctness and all the bad things that have happened in this country, when people say, yeah, go ahead and do this, and somebody gets hurt out there, the next thing you know is you're getting sued and you lose your property. You better have health, you better have insurance for damages out there. So that's why nobody has done this. So we're hoping that the state will do this, so that if somebody gets hurt, somebody on the property, they can always, some attorney somewhere is going to say, well, that's because that tree jumped out in the trail and smacked that rider off of his ATV and caused irreparable harm. It's nature's fault, which is controlled by the state. So there is that argument. And that's just an argument. Me personally, I think it'd be wonderful if somebody had a place to go ride their ATVs. I have, tractors and things like this, and if I want to ride, if I bought an off-road motorcycle, I would build a little track in the back of my horse ranch, and I'd segregate the horses to the front, and I'd ride my little motorcycle on the back. That's what I would do. You need, if you're going to pay that kind of money for a vehicle, and you want to use it, you should be able to use it somewhere. But here's another caveat. They said that these vehicles will have to be licensed. Now, you can't register and license a vehicle unless it passes a state inspection for braking, for turn signals, for you got to buy a tag for the thing. You got to have insurance on the thing. You've got to have all these things going on just to get the darn thing, legal for the road. Then they'll let it on the, that's what's part of the resolution is. But anyways, I have to agree with Mr. Johnson that there should be a place where somebody can ride these ATVs and not be harassed for breaking a law for having an unlicensed or unregistered vehicle on the road. I agree. I do agree. Buy your own property and do it. That's an answer. But anyways, but as far as this issue goes, more power to you, Greg. I hope you the best. I hope Mr. Gimbert gets what he wants. But if he doesn't, I'm sorry, Mr. Gimbert. It doesn't. But you know what? As I used to like to say in the radio business, but wait, there's more. That's right. How about this? And I hope that the council members might get wind of this little podcast somewhere. Mr. Kelly, Mr. Lowry, Miss Denny's. I hope you guys, Mr. Johnson, I hope all you guys turn around and say, hey, wait a minute. This might be an idea. How about this for an idea? See if the state forest reserve will allow a short temporary testing time. I mean, this is all up to the forest system. It's not up to us. It's really up to the state of Florida. In your letter you're going to write to the state, why don't you write in a suggestion for a 6-month trial period? 6 months. At the end of 6 months, the county and the state can get together and go out on horseback or walk or whatever you want to do out there through the 30,000 acres and see if these ATV riders are being respectful. If they're being respectful, let it ride until it comes to a point of non-respect. Like, for example, yes, everybody's being on their best behavior for 6 months. Well, that's great. We'll continue on with this program. But the first time one of these guys gets out there and causes a forest fire or something going on that is not conducive to riding a four-wheel vehicle, an ATV out there, then you pull the permission. You pull the permit, so to speak. Pull it at that time. Because most people will respect the trail. And I know this for a fact because I've known people that go on these trails, bicycle trails, horse trails, walking trails, and for the most part, they respect them. The only area in Volusia County where we have people come in and they don't respect our property, our stuff as Volusia County is a county park, is the beach. Because the beach is a county park. And people disrespect that beach like crazy and leave gobs and tons of trash and dirty diapers and plastic containers and plastic bags ad infinitum on our beach. So let's hope that the people that go to our beaches don't drive ATVs and destroy Tiger Bay.